What if you could make investment decisions based on the collective wisdom of a year's worth of your favorite investment podcasts all scraped together? Or what if you could ask generalized questions about product feedback based on real customer service chat and call transcripts? We'll first build a system to automatically capture incoming emails and store them in a vector database. Then we'll build a chatbot that lets you ask questions about any of the data that you've saved. When many people first encounter the idea of a personalized knowledge system, their first instinct is to dump every email and article they've ever read into it, hoping the AI will magically pull out something useful. Now, AI has gotten good at working with messy data, but the best results come when you carefully curate the data you include and you build separate systems for each kind of knowledge that you want to query. So we're going to build an intake process, and then we're going to build a chatbot. And that'll allow us to put data into the system and then check on what's in the system and get it out. There's 3 things that we need to do to get the basic chatbot flow working. First, we need to get data from an outside source. So to demonstrate this, I've created a bunch of product feedback emails that are sitting in this Gmail account. And there's some negative ones, positive ones. They're all related to the product feedback. We're going to go access those first. So we'll do Gmail. And then inside of Gmail, you're going to say on message received. And then you just don't want to be simplified because that will eliminate the body of the email. We'll fetch the first event. And what we're looking for is this text right here that tells us what they said about it. Okay, so we got Gmail trigger. The next thing we need to do is make sure that the item is actually product feedback. Someone could send us bogus or threatening emails. So I put a random email in here. We want to make sure that didn't get in. So we have to filter that out. We do a little bit of extra work to do that. So we'll go to advanced AI. You could do this with several of these, but the clearest one is text classifier. So we're going to say, okay, I want to classify this text that came in as an email. And this is the one that we want right here. So we'll pop it up there. And I'm going to make this a bit easier to see. So we're going to grab this JSON.text and we're going to classify it into product feedback. And the description here will be, and let's make this less programmery, make it 2 words. Okay. And we'll say feedback specifically related to a company product. Okay. And then we want to add an option. So when there's no clear match, if it's not definitely that, we just want to discard it. We don't care. And then we need to use a model. Now I want to use OpenAI in here. This does require that you have a paid OpenAI account. If you don't do that, you could use Grok or some other free model. Mistral has a free tier as well. And then you will have a credential. So you'll need to set that up, choose your model. This one should be fine in this case. And we will save that. Okay. And then the next piece here, we need to then store this in a database. This database is our knowledge system. There's this new kind of database called vector databases. You've probably heard of them. That's what we're using. So Pinecone is the most famous one. They have a good free tier that's great for tutorials like this. And so we'll be using that. So in the old days, databases were based on taking chunks of text and then comparing whole words and seeing if they fit. So that worked if you're comparing things like people's names and stuff. But if you want to compare more contextual things, for example, puppy and German Shepherd, the words in English have absolutely no connection to each other. The letters are totally different, etymology is different, but they are definitely related to each other. And when people came up with vector databases, they learned how to take a whole bunch of words and convert them to numbers. And these numbers have relationships to each other in this thing called a multi-dimensional vector space, which you don't need to understand, but do understand this, that the vector database can tell that puppy and German Shepherd are related. And that becomes very powerful when you begin to ask questions about relationships between, for example, customer service feedback. I want negative comment. Well, the word negative may never show up in any of the comments that you stored, but that vector database is going to pull back comments that are negative in nature because the words that were used are related to the word negative. So if we need to go to pinecone.io, you're going to sign up probably if you don't have an account. And they'll give you a project automatically, and you'll go in and create an index. Index is right here. You'll hit create index. It'll give you a new index, and the key is to choose something. If you're okay with using OpenAI, then do text embedding 3 small. And if you are not okay with OpenAI, if you want to do something free, then what I'll recommend is that you do manual configuration and then go get one of Hugging Face. And you can use a Hugging Face text embedding model, and that'll tell you what to put in here in terms of the dimensions and the metric and all of that. Then you'll hit create index, and that will bring you to a new index like they have on the screen here. So you can see this index is currently empty. There's no results in it. So what we want to do is grab all of these Gmail emails and drop them into this database. This is quite easy to do in A10. So you'll come over here and you'll say, just type in Pinecone vector store, and we want to say add documents to vector store. Then you're going to put in your API key. You're going to create a credential. API keys are over here in the dashboard. And then you will get that connection made. You'll insert documents, and then you'll choose the index that you create. So in our case, it's this one. And we want to add an embedding, and then we'll have document. So the embedding is going to be using embeddings API, the embeddings OpenAI, and we're using text embedding 3 small, which is one I showed earlier. And then if we want to also add this document. So in this case, we're going to use default data loader. And this is going to reach in, and this is interesting, it's going to reach into what's already come in. So we've got this Gmail trigger, and then we have text classifier. And really all we care about is what came out of that email. We don't actually transform it in the text classifier. So we're just going to go down here. Also, I should note that because I'm zoomed in a little bit, it's the JSON tab that I'm using. And I want to get the email original text. Let's see if we can find that. There it is. Here it is. So you can just hover over it, and you have to say mode is load specific data, because I don't want to dump the whole email in there. I just want the text of it. So I'm going to put all that text in there, and then we're going to have to add a text splitter. And we're just going to use this one that says recommended for most use cases. So the recursive character text splitter. And you can use the default values there. And now you have yourself a full workflow. So I'll zoom out for clarity there. So you have a Gmail trigger that grabs the emails, then it's going to classify the text. We're going to pop it into the Pinecone vector store using the same embeddings that you put into that index. And then we'll load it up and make sure that they're in here before we create the chatbot to actually chat with it. So go and hit test workflow at the bottom of your screen, and it will grab all of your emails. Okay. And in my case, it just grabbed one email because I had already sent these, and so these are not considered new email. So I'm going to get the rest of them in here real quick, and then we'll check the index. So you can see we've got some new email coming in here. I just kicked off my workflow to generate new emails that'll get in here. And when we come into executions, we'll be able to see, since this is active, you can come over here and you can see that it picked up those 5 emails. And in a minute, it's going to do it again, pick up some more emails. And then if you come in here, list, that we've now got 6 records sitting inside of the database. So those have come in. And if we do a search, we will do, let's see if just the top here. So those give us the top hits. And this tells us the text that was in here. So I want recently the opportunity. I wanted to share my thoughts. So all these different kinds of texts are in here that will have negative and positive reviews. These are exactly what came in the emails. Now, if you are working with really big chunks of text, then you need to split those up. It's called chunking out your text. So right now we're just dumping the entire email into the vector database. But what you want to do is if you got lots of big like documents like SOPs or something, in that case, you need to have that text in similarly sized chunks so you can get a more consistent search and you can quickly find the pieces of the document report. So if you were doing that, you would add something in between text classifier and the Pinecone vector store. You'd have a code node or something that would split that code up, not the code, is the text up from your email or your SOP into chunks of say 1,000 characters each or 1,000 words each. So we don't need to do that here, but that would be something you'll have to keep in mind. So now you can see with these extra ones going, we can refresh again, and we now have some more hits in the database. So we now got 10 sitting in the database, and we can now begin to search about this. So in our segment here, we'll create a chatbot that will allow you to ask questions about what people are saying about the product, and we'll get some summarizations of this that's based on all of this crazy email. So instead of you having to go and ask your customer service people, hey, what kind of feedback are you getting? You can just ask your AI agent and you'll get more accurate answers than you'll get from a customer service agent trying to remember everything that happened. We're almost there. The last piece is to create a chatbot. Of course, there's a lot of ways to do this. You could do Microsoft Teams, you could do Slack, but in our case, we're going to use N8N itself. It provides one out of the box, which is great for testing. It might be enough for this use case for your own team. It does offer password protection if you need it. So we'll start with that. That allows us to reach into this vector database where potentially every time we get a new customer service interaction, it automatically gets put into the database. That's very hard to do with, say, Notebook LM or a custom GPT. Now, because this is always improving, we're always having live data coming back from this chatbot. Now we can then say, hey, I want the top 20 results of this search into the vector database, or maybe even higher numbers. Then I could say summarize the top complaints. And so it's grabbing 20 complaints from the database. And then I'm going to get a great summarization of the top 20 complaints that came out. So you can get a really good picture of what's going on inside of your customer service. You also can dump data from other places. So right now we've demonstrated how to do it with Gmail. You could also have customer chat transcripts that came from some other system, like Freshdesk or something. You could also have audio transcriptions that you then bring into text and drop into the vector database. So the sky's the limit. Hey, and before we get into this last piece, if this is helping you, would you like the video? That would help me get this out to some more people if you think it could help others as well. And if you think this kind of content might be helpful for you in the future, go ahead and subscribe. And I'm going to keep giving you as much content as possible to make you a hero with AI, to be able to build businesses and to shine your organization with AI knowledge and skill set. One of the great things about N8N is that chat is easy, at least for the prototype version that we're doing here. So you're going to go add first step. You're going to say your trigger is on a chat message. We do want to make this publicly available. Now I'm running this on my local machine for testing purposes. And you could, if you're doing this in the hosted version, then you'll get something that doesn't say localhost. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're going to come up here and you're going to open that up. Now it's going to give you an error when you start this over here. The error is because you haven't activated this workflow. So let's go ahead and activate. Okay, now we should be able to refresh and we have a chat. Now it says, hi there, my name is Nathan. How can I assist you? Okay, a little awkward. Let's see if we at least that a little better. So we'll come in here. We'll say, hi, my name is Customer Service Analyzer. How can I assist you today? You can click test chat, which will give you a chat test window down here, but we can't really do that right now. So we're not going to mess with it. So we'll come over here. We'll be testing it directly in the chat here. So then you just have really one major node, and it's called AI agent. You're going to use this tool agent. It's connected to the chat trigger node, and that's really all it needs to do. It's going to have a chat model, a memory, and a tool. So it's going to have each of those, and we'll just go through and add those one at a time. So first we'll add a chat model. Now, I have been using OpenAI for this tutorial, and I'm using GPT-4o Mini just because it's cheaper. If you need to use something free, that will work as well. And that's the first piece. So we've got an OpenAI chat model. Now we need to add memory to this if you care about that. So if you want to be able to remember what's happened in the past, then you'll want to add memory. Simple memory is going to be fine for prototyping. If you needed it to be long-term, you could use Postgres or Reddit or something else here. We'll do simple. We'll remember the past 5 chats, which is good enough in most cases. Organize these a little bit. And the last piece is tool. This is the part that is where the magic happens. So we're going to say Pinecone vector store. And N8N, this node does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. So here we are going to connect to our Pinecone API account, which you already did earlier in the video. Then you're going to give it a name. So company. You can give it a description if you want. So answer. You'll choose your index. And then this is the important part. So if you're using a ChatGPT, custom GPT, or you're using like Notebook LM, then you don't have a lot of control over how many different data points you're looking at. You're obviously not looking at all of them, and it's up to the system to determine. In this case, I want to grab a lot back. So I want to say, if I asked about negative comments, I want to get a lot of negative comments back so that I can have a true analysis of them in plain text. So in this case, let's say I want to get 20 back. So then say, okay with that, you have to click embedding. This is the same embedding that we use to set up the database. So it's text embedding 3 small. That's very important for that to be accurate. And there you have it. We have a fully functioning chat agent. And then you can come in here and you can ask it a question. So give me the top most concerning complaints from customer service. And then it's going to go to your vector database. It's going to do some thinking. And then we get them. We got the product design quality, button responsiveness, durability, and it's summarized. And this is summarized based on all these emails that came in. So now you can ask really good questions about lots of data and get accurate responses that are even more accurate than the memory of your own customer service representative.